Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're live here catching the rest of President Donald Trump's speech. We've got Roman, Orlando, Josh, and Cruz with us.
All right. Hey, guys, put the volume up. Let's watch.
It's at full blast.
I hear nothing.
Okay, I can't find the link.
It's not playing at all, Manny, like at all.
The sound's not playing. Refresh the screen, Manny.
Okay. Now, you know what? The YouTube one was better yesterday, right?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
I thought you had already set it up so we could play as soon as we came on live, but I guess not. I heard volume, but I guess it was Orlando's feed, not yours.
No, you know what? The YouTube one was better yesterday, right?
I think so, yeah.
There's a delay, by the way. I thought you had already set it up so we could play as soon as we came online. What's that delay, Manny?
Somebody's got their sound real loud.
No, it's probably you because you're using your earpods. This is the first time you used your earpods. Is that what's causing it, maybe?
It was me. If you're using your earpods, more than likely that's where the audio is going to instead of the feed.
No, I had both videos running at the same time. Is it okay now?
No, we can't hear anything at all. Can you hear something?
I hear all of it.
Well, then
I
yeah,
don't hear you.
then it's your earpods. Take them off.
Okay.
All right, now play it. Okay, it's not playing. Refresh it.
Did you check the bottom corner, see if it's unmuted?
You have yourself muted, Manny.
A matter of a few
Yeah,
months.
I just noticed
We're
that.
producing them in advance so that hundreds of
That
millions
better?
of doses will be
Yes.
quickly
Yes.
available. We will have a safe and effective vaccine this year, and together we will crush the virus. At the Democrat convention, you barely heard a word about their agenda. But that's not because they don't have one. It's because their agenda is the most extreme set of proposals ever put forward by a major party nominee. Joe Biden may claim he is an ally of the light, but when it comes to his agenda, Biden wants to keep us completely in the dark. He doesn't have a clue. He has pledged a $4 trillion tax hike on almost all American families, which will totally collapse our rapidly improving economy. And once again, record stock markets that we have right now will also collapse. That means your 401ks, that means all of the stocks that you have. On the other hand, just as I did in my first term, I will cut taxes even further for hardworking moms and dads. I will not raise taxes. I will cut them, and very substantially. And we will also provide tax credits to bring jobs out of China back to America. And we will impose tariffs on any company that leaves America to produce jobs overseas. We will make sure our companies and jobs stay in our country, as I've already been doing for quite some time, if you've noticed. Joe Biden's agenda is made in China. My agenda is made in the USA. Biden has promised to abolish the production of American oil, coal, shale, and natural gas, laying waste to the economies of Pennsylvania, Ohio, Texas, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Colorado, and New Mexico, destroying those states, absolutely destroying those states and others. Millions of jobs will be lost, and energy prices will soar. These same policies led to crippling power outages in California just last week. Everybody saw that. Tremendous power outage. Nobody's seen anything like it, but we saw that last week in California. How can Joe Biden claim to be an ally of the light when his own party can't even keep the lights on? Joe Biden's campaign has even published a 110-page policy platform. You can't get away from this. Co-authored with far-left Senator Crazy Bernie Sanders. The Biden-Bernie manifesto calls for suspending all removals of illegal aliens, implementing nationwide catch and release, and providing illegal aliens with free taxpayer-funded lawyers. Everybody gets a lawyer. Come on over to our country. Everybody has a lawyer. We have a lawyer for you. That's what we need is more lawyers. Joe Biden recently raised his hand on the debate stage and promised your giveaway. He was going to give it away, your health care dollars to illegal immigrants, which is going to bring massive number of immigrants into our country. Massive numbers will pour into our country in order to get all of the goodies that they want to give, education, health care, everything. He also supports deadly sanctuary cities that protect criminal aliens. He promised to end national security travel bans from jihadist nations, and he pledged to increase refugee admissions by 700%. This is in the manifesto. The Biden plan would eliminate America's borders in the middle of a global pandemic, and he's even talking about taking the wall down. How about that? Biden also plans to oppose school choice and close all charter schools, ripping away the ladder of opportunity for Black and Hispanic children. In a second term, I will expand charter schools and provide school choice to every family in America. And we will always treat our teachers with the tremendous respect that they deserve. Great people. Great, great people. Joe Biden claims he has empathy for the vulnerable, yet the party he leads supports the extreme late-term abortion of defenseless babies right up until the moment of birth. Democrat leaders talk about moral decency, but they have no problem with stopping a baby's beating heart in the 9th month of pregnancy. Democrat politicians refuse to protect innocent life, and then they lecture us about morality and saving America's soul. Tonight, we proudly declare that all children, born and unborn, have a God-given right to life.
Amen.
Yep.
During the Democrat convention, the words "under God" were removed from the Pledge of Allegiance. Not once, but twice. We will never do that. But the fact is, this is where they're coming from. Like it or not, this is where they're coming from. If the left gains power, they will demolish the suburbs, confiscate your guns, and appoint justices who will wipe away your Second Amendment and other constitutional freedoms. Biden is a Trojan horse for socialism. If Joe Biden doesn't have the strength to stand up to wild-eyed Marxists like Bernie Sanders and his fellow radicals, and there are many, we see them all the time. It's incredible, actually. Then how is he ever going to stand up for you? He's not. The most dangerous aspect of the Biden platform is the attack on public safety. The Biden-Bernie manifesto calls for abolishing cash bail, immediately releasing 400,000 criminals onto the streets and into your neighborhoods.
Yep.
When asked if he supports cutting police funding, Joe Biden replied, yes, absolutely. When Congresswoman Ilhan Omar called the Minneapolis Police Department a cancer that is rotten to the root, Biden wouldn't disavow her support and reject her endorsement. He proudly displayed it shortly later on his website. Displayed it in big letters. Make no mistake, if you give power to Joe Biden, the radical left will defund police departments all across America. They will pass federal legislation to reduce law enforcement nationwide. They will make every city look like Democrat-run Portland, Oregon. No one will be safe in Biden's America. My administration will always stand with the men and women of law enforcement. Every day, police officers risk their lives to keep us safe. And every year, many sacrifice their lives in the line of duty. One of these incredible Americans was Detective Neostas Familia. He was part of a team of American heroes called the NYPD, or New York's finest, who I was very, very proud to get their endorsement just the other day. Great people, great people. They were allowed to do their job. You'd have no crime in New York. Rudy Giuliani knows that better than anybody. Thank you, Rudy. 3 years ago, on the 4th of July weekend, Detective Familia was on duty in her vehicle when she was ambushed just after midnight and murdered by a monster who hated her purely for wearing the badge. Detective Familia was a single mom. She recently asked for the night shift so she could spend more time with her kids. 2 years ago, I stood in front of the U.S. Capitol alongside those beautiful children and held their grandmother's hand as they mourned their terrible loss. And we honored Detective Familia's extraordinary life. It was extraordinary. Detective Familia's 3 children are with us this evening. Genesis, Peter, Delilah. We are so grateful to have you here tonight. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I promise you that we will treasure your mom in our memories forever. We must remember that the overwhelming majority of police officers in this country, and that's the overwhelming majority, are noble, courageous, and honorable. We have to give law enforcement, our police, back their power. They are afraid to act.
Yep.
They are afraid to lose their pension. They are afraid to lose their jobs. And by being afraid, they are not able to do the job that they so desperately want to do for you. And those who suffer most are the great people who they protect and who they want to protect at an even higher level. When there is police misconduct, the justice system must hold wrongdoers fully and completely accountable, and it will. But when we can never have a situation where things are going on as they are today, we must never allow mob rule We can never allow mob rule. In the strongest possible terms, the Republican Party condemns the rioting, looting, arson, and violence we have seen in Democrat-run cities all, like Kenosha, Minneapolis, Portland, Chicago, and New York, and many others, Democrat-run. There is violence and danger in the streets of many Democrat-run cities throughout America. This problem could easily be fixed if they wanted to. Just call. We're ready to go in. We'll take care of your problem in a matter of hours. Just call. We have to wait for the call. It's too bad we have to, but we have to wait for the call. We must always have law and order. All federal crimes are being investigated, prosecuted, and punished to the fullest extent of the law. When the anarchists started ripping down our statues and monuments right outside, I signed an order immediately, 10 years in prison. And it was a miracle. It all stopped. No more statues. They said, that's just too long as they looked at the statue. I think we'll rip it down. Then they said 10 years in prison. I think that's too long. Let's go home. During their convention, Joe Biden and his supporters remained completely silent about the rioters and criminals spreading mayhem in Democrat-run cities. They never even mentioned it during their entire convention. Never once mentioned. Now they're starting to mention it because their poll numbers are going down like a rock in water. It's too late, Joe. In the face of left-wing anarchy and mayhem in Minneapolis, Chicago, and other cities, Joe Biden's campaign did not condemn it. They donated to it. At least 13 members of Joe Biden's campaign staff donated to a fund to bail out vandals, arsonists, anarchists, looters, and rioters from jail. Here tonight is the grieving family of retired police captain David Dorn, a 38-year veteran of the St. Louis Police Department, a great man and a highly respected man by all. In June, Captain Dorn was shot and killed as he tried to protect the store from rioters and looters, or as the Democrats would call them, peaceful protesters. They call them peaceful protesters. We're honored to be joined tonight by his wonderful wife, Ann, and beloved family members, Brian and Kaylin. To each of you, we will never forget the heroic legacy of Captain David Dorn. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you. Thank you very much. Great man. Great man. As long as I am president, we will defend the absolute right of every American citizen to live in security, dignity, and peace. If the Democrat Party wants to stand with anarchists, agitators, rioters, looters, and flag burners, that is up to them. But I, as your president, will not be a part of it. The Republican Party will remain the voice of the patriotic heroes who keep America safe and salute the American flag.
Amen. What is this?
Last year, over 1,000 African Americans were murdered as a result of violent crime in just 4 Democrat-run cities. The top 10 most dangerous cities in the country are run by Democrats and have been for many decades. Thousands more African Americans are victims of violent crime in these communities. Joe Biden and the left ignore these American victims. I never will. If the radical left takes power, they will apply their disastrous policies to every city, town, and suburb in America. Just imagine if the so-called peaceful demonstrators in the streets were in charge of every lever of power in the U.S.
Always
government. Just
remember,
think of that.
they're coming
Liberal
after me
politicians
because I
concerned
am
about
fighting for you. That's what's
of
happening.
American institutions. But who's hiring the radical professors, judges, and prosecutors? Who is trying to abolish immigration enforcement and establish speech codes designed to muzzle dissent? In every case, the attacks on American institutions are being waged by radical left. Always remember, they are coming after me because I am fighting for you. That's what's happening. And it's been going on from before I even got elected.
Yeah.
Remember this, they spied on my campaign and they got caught. Let's see now what happens. We must reclaim our independence from the left's repressive mandates. Americans are exhausted trying to keep up with the latest lists of approved words and phrases and the ever more restrictive political decrees. Many things have a different name now, and the rules are constantly changing. The goal of cancel culture is to make decent Americans live in fear of being fired, expelled, shamed, humiliated, and driven from society as we know it. The far left wants to coerce you into saying what you know to be false and scare you out of saying what you know to be true. But on November 3rd, you can send them a very thundering message they will never forget. Thank you. Thank you. Joe Biden is weak. He takes his marching orders from liberal hypocrites who drive their cities into the ground while fleeing far from the scene of the wreckage. These same liberals want to eliminate school choice while they enroll their children in the finest private schools in the land. They want to open our borders while living in Waldorf compounds and communities in the best neighborhoods in the world. They want to defund the police while they have armed guards for themselves. This November, we must turn the page forever on this failed political class. The fact is, I'm here. What's the name of that building?
Just rub it in a little bit.
No, the People's House.
Is we're here and they're not. To me, one of the most beautiful buildings anywhere in the world, and it's not a building, it's a home as far as I'm concerned. Not even a house, it's a home. It's a wonderful place with an incredible history. But it's all because of you. Together we will write the next chapter of the great American story.
Here comes the end.
Next 4 years, we will make America into the manufacturing superpower of the world. We will expand opportunity zones. Thank you, Tim Scott. Bring home our medical supply chains, and we will end our resilience. The bad things, we will go right after China. We will not rely on them one bit. We're taking our business out of China. We are bringing it home. We want our business to come home. We will continue to reduce taxes and regulations at levels not seen before. We will create 10 million jobs in the next 10 months, and it'll be higher than that. We will hire more police, increase penalties for assaults on law enforcement, and surge federal prosecutors into high crime communities. We will ban deadly sanctuary cities and ensure that federal health care is protected for American citizens, not for illegal aliens. We will have strong borders. And I've said for years, without borders, we don't have a country. Don't have a country. Strike down terrorists who threaten our people and keep America out of endless and costly foreign wars. We will appoint prosecutors, judges, justices who believe in enforcing the law, not enforcing their own political agenda, which is illegal. We will ensure equal justice for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. We will uphold your religious liberty and defend your Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. And if we don't win, your Second Amendment doesn't have a chance, I can tell you.
That's right.
I have totally
That's right.
protected it. We will protect Medicare and Social Security. We will always and very strongly protect patients with pre-existing conditions. And that is a pledge from the entire Republican Party. Thank you, Kevin. We will end surprise medical billing, require price transparency, and further reduce the cost of prescription drugs and health insurance premiums. They're coming way down. We will greatly expand energy development, continuing to remain the #1 in the world and keep America energy independent. And for those of you that still drive a car, look how low your gasoline bill is. You haven't seen it in a long time. We will win the race to 5G and build the world's best cyber and missile defense, already under construction. We will fully restore patriotic education to our schools and always protect. We will always protect free speech on college campuses. And we put a very big penalty in. If they do anything having to do with your free speech, colleges have to pay a tremendous financial penalty. And again, it's amazing how open they've been lately. We will launch a new age of American ambition in space. America will land the first woman on the moon, and the United States will be the first nation to plant its beautiful flag on Mars. This is the unifying national agenda that will bring our country together. So tonight I say to all Americans, this is the most important election in the history of our country. There has never been such a difference between two parties or two individuals in ideology, philosophy, or vision than there is right now. Our opponents believe that America is a depraved nation. We want our sons and daughters to know the truth. America is the greatest and most exceptional nation in the history of the world. Our country wasn't built by cancel culture, speech codes, and soul-crushing conformity. We are not a nation of timid spirits. We are a nation of fierce, proud, and independent American patriots. We're a nation of pilgrims, pioneers, adventurers, explorers, and trailblazers who refuse to be tied down, held back, or in any way reined in. Americans have steel in their spines, grit in their souls, and fire in their hearts. There is no one like us on earth. I want every child in America to know that you are part of the most exciting and incredible adventure in human history. No matter where your family comes from, no matter your background in America, anyone can rise. With hard work, devotion, and drive, you can reach any goal and achieve every ambition. Our American ancestors sailed across the perilous ocean to build a new life on a new continent. They braved the freezing winters, crossed the raging rivers, scaled the rocky peaks, trekked the dangerous forests, and worked from dawn till dusk. These pioneers didn't have money, they didn't have fame, but they had each other. They loved their families, they loved their country, and they loved their God. When opportunity beckoned, they picked up their Bibles, packed up their belongings, climbed into their covered wagons, and set out west for the next adventure. Ranchers and miners, cowboys and sheriffs, farmers and settlers, they pressed on past the Mississippi to stake a claim in the wild frontier. Legends were born. Wyatt Earp, Annie Oakley, Davy Crockett, and Buffalo Bill. Americans built their beautiful homesteads on the open range. Soon they had churches and communities, then towns, and with time, great centers of industry and commerce. That is who they were. Americans build their future. We don't tear down our past. We are the nation that won a revolution, toppled tyranny and fascism, and delivered millions into freedom. We laid down the railroads, built the great ships, raised up the skyscrapers, revolutionized industry, and sparked a new age of scientific discovery. We set the trends in art and music, radio and film, sport and literature, and we did it all with style and confidence and flair, because that is who we are. Whenever our way of life was threatened, our heroes answered the call. From Yorktown to Gettysburg, from Normandy to Iwo Jima, American patriots raced into cannon blasts, bullets, and bayonets to rescue American liberty. They had no fear, but America didn't stop there. We looked into the sky and kept pressing onward. We built a 6 million pound rocket and launched it thousands of miles into space. We did it so that two brave patriots could stand tall and salute our wondrous American flag planted on the face of the moon. For America, nothing is impossible. Over the next 4 years, we will prove worthy of this magnificent legacy. We will reach stunning new heights, and we will show that the world, for America, there is a dream, and it is not beyond your reach. Together we are unstoppable. Together we are unbeatable, because together we are the proud citizens of the United States of America. And on November 3rd, We will make America safer. We will make America stronger. We will make America prouder. And we will make America greater than ever before. I am very, very proud to be the nominee of the Republican Party. I love you all. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
That was long.
Yeah.
Mike was off. Sorry, guys. That was way too long. And whoever wrote that speech should never write another speech again. That
Check
was
out the
way too
fireworks.
long. Yeah.
As I was hoping, he started with the hurricane conversation, which to me was important. He showed his
Yeah. We'll get into that in a second. Did Josh take off or something? Or what happened with Josh? Let's reintroduce everybody right now. This was the final night of the Republican National Convention. This is Real Politics with you. We're starting this live. We have, I'm Roman Bettis. I'll be moderating it tonight. We have some few guests that are coming in shortly. Afterwards, once the speech was over, we're hoping to get some people from Hidalgo County in. They had a special drive-through viewing of this event, and so they should be getting in shortly. We'll be out of here at 11:30. We're not going to go past 11:30, so don't expect this to be a humongously long night. So stay with us if you can. Like our Facebook page, share this YouTube live stream video on your Facebook. And if you're on YouTube, please share our YouTube link. The more the merrier. We'd like your comments here, like Orlando's making already comments. You're not hearing just his voice. You're going to be able to hear comments on the bottom as well. If you can take that off real quick, Manny, so we can introduce everybody. We have Manny. He is producing the show tonight, Manny. Awesome. And we have Orlando Perez, who we've had the last few days covering it from a local perspective over in Hidalgo County. And below me is Cruz Quintana with the Hidalgo County Republican Party Executive Committee and Precinct Chair for number 39. I think Josh Peltier, is he gone or is he coming back or what happened?
His computer keeps turning off. He'll be popping back in a bit.
Okay, well, Josh Peltier will be popping in. He's with the Cameron County Service Facebook page. Join their group. They're part of the Trump Train activities that are happening every weekend throughout the valley. All right, first, what do you all think of tonight's big moment, the big speech by President Trump? Hey, Orlando, you already ready to start talking, so what do you think?
Well, as I was hoping, he started the speech the way I wanted. He started very clearly with the issue with the hurricane, hoping that everyone would be okay, letting everybody know that FEMA and the federal government was behind them. So to me, that was important. From there, he jumped into thanking his family, thanking his children, thanking the Republican Party. And then he said that he soon will be welcoming all Democrats, all liberals, and all of those that want to join the new America. And to me, that was important. He's reaching out. He's not just saying it's about us and forget about you all. He is willing to welcome all that want to come in and be part of America.
Yeah, and Cruz, what are your thoughts?
Following up on what Orlando said, he first described them correctly, in my opinion, as radical left. Democrats don't like to be called radical. So I think he cast out the net and he's bringing it in. And I think he did an effective job of that.
I think my opinion is this speech was way too long. I've already said that. We should not be at 10:30 wrapping up his speech. It shouldn't be an hour long. Joe Biden's speech was 24 minutes, which is great for little sound bites. Granted, he probably had to go back into the basement wherever he's hiding But regardless, you don't make this long speech. I felt like I was listening to a State of the Union speech. Nobody really wants to watch this. They want to watch Trump give a good speech, a unifying speech. He was hitting all the check marks, but you don't need to hit all the check marks. You just need to make a nice, good theme for the speech, which I think this theme was the riots and the out of control craziness that is the left right now. Was that enough of a theme? Is that the theme that you got, Orlando? Because
He mentioned one thing. He said, how can the Democrats lead the party or lead this country when they only thing they are doing so far is tear it down? And that's a true statement. It's a great question. They don't care about leading. Now is when they're backtracking about telling the rioters, no, don't do this, don't do that. But they were for all of the chaos that's going on. But now they claim to tell the American people that they want to lead the country. They never really showed for the last 2 months since chaos has consumed, or however long it's been, that they really cared or wanted to lead. So they're going to lead the country into what? Into total chaos? That's what they're doing.
Josh Peltier's back with the Cameron County Facebook page. Erasmo Castro!
Hey, guys.
Hey.
What are you
Everybody
saying,
the
Erasmo? This is
cheese.
the great Erasmo Castro. The Donald Trump of Brownsville has joined us to talk about Donald Trump's speech and the night that was. You may not have watched a lot of it, Erasmo. Why? Because you were probably covering the two debates on the BISD thing. Maybe tomorrow I'll get on your show and we'll talk about that in the morning.
Well, let me say something before anything else, guys. Let me tell you, congratulations, guys, all of y'all. These are the type of forums that we need here in Cameron County, in Brownsville, in our communities, and in general. This is the type of avenue that is most needed. Hey, Orlando, that is most needed, and our community needs more of, because it gives individuals an opportunity to voice their opinions, to voice their concerns. Because one of the things that I've learned, and Roman and I have known each other for a while. One of the things that I've learned is our community.
Way too long, I think.
Our community, wants individuals to express their voice, to express their concerns, because a lot of times there's a lot of fear of retaliation, and it takes individuals, it takes warriors out there that are willing to put their face and their name, like all of y'all have, and say, guys, this is me, this is what I believe, and people can relate and come on and say, hey, I have this concern, but you help me express this for me. So, man, congratulations, guys. Thank y'all, and much success. Really, it's really, really needed.
Not everybody who watches us will know who you are, Erasmo, and especially Cruz doesn't know who you are. So tell us who you are very quickly so that our viewers can know.
My name is Erasmo Castro, and I longtime resident of the city of Brownsville. I consider myself a community activist. One of the things that I excel at is being that ear that a lot of people, they pull sometimes, and they share information with. And, I do my best to try and keep elected officials accountable. I demand and I ask for transparency. And, I just want to continue to be that voice in our community, that voice that cries out in the wilderness, that tries to let people know what's going on. I've run for office. I'm currently running for office. I've run for office 6 times. I've been successful in 1. I was elected to serve on the Brownsville Independent School Board back in 2018 because of circumstances and because of a matter that I need to take care of. I opted to resign from the board, but I'm hoping that my community is willing and ready to take me on again. So. I'm still a community activist. I'll still be a community activist afterwards.
Yeah. Did you, Josh? We were about to we're giving our introductions on what we thought of tonight's Donald Trump speech. Did you get a chance to watch any of it, Erasmo, or just enough of it to be able to comment?
I'm going to say no. I did record it at home. As y'all know, I do have a live show, similar to y'all's, a lot like y'all's actually. And mine goes from 9 to 10, 10:30ish, and that's why I came in a little bit late. We had a forum locally with one of our teacher associations where they had candidates out there, and they were out there, sharing what they would bring to the district. And as local politics usually are, it got a little bit hot and
Heavy. Yeah, and I saw some, so we'll definitely be talking about that. Hopefully tomorrow. Have me on your show tomorrow. That's cool, and we'll talk about that because it was fascinating. Okay, well, Josh, what did you think? We're doing tonight is so everybody's we're going to comment on tonight's festivities and what we thought, whether or not Donald Trump did a good job. Josh, you saw the speech. You were watching with us backstage for a while. What do you think?
I think it was the best speech he's given as president so far. I think it
No.
surpassed his last State of the Union speech. He clearly summed up the theme of what the last 4 days have been about, reminding us of who we are, where we come from, what America stands for, what America is about, and he laid out a plan for the future. That's what a leader does. He's not a politician; he's a leader, and he continues to show that. And that's why the independents and the moderates are more than likely going to swing his way, and that's why I believe he's going to remain president for the next 4 years.
Yeah. Well, I've given my opinion. I don't think it was a very good speech. I didn't. It was all over the place. It was too checkboxy and whatnot. I've already said that. But one of the things that was happening throughout the speech was the Antifa protesters outside on the other side of the White House, over I guess on Lafayette Square. They were trying to drown out the president. I guess. What did you hear them at all during the speech? Or at all during the night? You all didn't hear it?
No. I did get to hear the horns, the compressed air horns. They were very, very soft and no interruption whatsoever. But I was aware of them.
There were a few times where I thought I heard sirens and whatnot, and so you could hear that. But you're doing an outdoor thing. What do you all think in general? Whether or not it was a good idea to use the White House as the stage, federal property? Anyone can chime in on that one?
I'll chime in on that one because I was kind of upset in regards to the Pompeo issue that was brought up. Look, guys, I didn't see the speech tonight, but I'll give you a quick opinion if it's okay with y'all in regards to the whole convention, and then I'm going to bow out gracefully because I do have to get home before the curfew. But
Dad, you're arrested.
The convention was a lot more positive than the convention the Democrats had last week. There's a lot of missteps, but having Pompeo, give his little speech during one of those trips, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it. It was just kind of like petty for the Democrats to try and pinpoint. One of the things that I don't like, and again, I haven't seen the speech tonight. One of the things that I don't like is when Trump dedicates more time on the prompters. It's not his forte. I like Trump when Trump is just winging it, just
like at a press conference.
Yeah, like when he's at the press conference or when he was out, first running for office back in 2016. When you'd hear him out at the stadiums and he was just here it goes and rah rah rah, that was like And then you start to see him on teleprompters, like when he pardoned the African American man that who had had a bank robbery. I can't remember his name. It just didn't sound too Trumpy,
Yeah, but weren't you the same person that says, "Oh, if only he could read off a teleprompter for his entire presidency, he'd sound like a president"? Didn't you just make that a comment on one of our one of our live streams?
Well, and there's again, yeah, but that's what I was referring to. And there's at some points where he wants to sound presidential, but sometimes you want him to sound a little bit. Look, I hate the politician talk. I hate the politician talk because politicians go out there and they tell you what you want to hear. No, I want you to tell me what you're thinking in your head, what you have in your heart. Express from your soul, because that way you're truly transparent. And he does that. And I think that's one of the things that Trump is missing this time around because of the Rona. He's missing not being able to be in the stadiums and, going and throwing it. Throwing it out there, That's what I think he misses. But again, guys, I'm going to say goodbye.
There you go. You were the surprise guest for tonight, so we know that. Yeah, we made it. So maybe we can join you next week or something, and we can talk about your race. on our show.
Yeah, y'all let me know. And again, I think this is awesome.
Invite me on your show so we can be able to do it. Because I have some BIC stuff I want to be able to talk about.
Guys, thank y'all so much. Appreciate
Thanks for coming
it.
on,
And much success, guys. This is really, really, really awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks. Okay. So, your thoughts, Orlando Cruz, on Brandy, if you want to chime in on it too. We've talked a little bit about it. I think we have a cue of it. That Amanda Carpenter Twitter thing, you have it on the queue, Manny. We can read that one, and that will kind of set up the tone for, what the Never Trumpers and the left are going to be saying to media. Josh, welcome back. If you can get that Amanda Carpenter, I think it was like the last tweet I gave you, Manny.
Yep, looking for it right now. I've got. I was getting Josh on there.
Okay. Yeah, it was gonna call it. This is Amanda Carpenter, former Senator Ted Cruz's office communications director, massive Never Trumper, can't get over it for some reason. Gonna call it. The visuals of this event are going to be the only thing that sticks. Supporters will say it looked gorgeous. Others, like me, see the White House turn into a prop for a potential super spreader COVID event. Optics matter, and honestly, that's all I see. Your thoughts in response to Miss Amanda Carpenter? Anybody?
Manny.
Actually, I think it's pretty typical. I don't know if you're aware or not, but the Never Trumpers had their own event tonight. And I don't remember who the speaker was going to be that was going to be talking at the same time Trump was, but it was a bunch of Never Trumpers. I can't remember the name of that group. Kellyanne's husband is in that group, and I can't remember right now.
I don't know either. They're just, unfortunately, to the peanut gallery at this point. You can't have this. The idea, Josh, you might want to mute yourself while you're not talking because we're getting feedback. You'll be able to, Josh, or force mute him, Manny, real quick. The issue that they have is the COVID stuff. We talked about this. The COVID event. In order to be able to be in the White House or be in the president around the president, you have to be tested. You have to show that you're negative for coronavirus. So how are they going to be the corona spreaders if they're in there? They're just picking at straws. Anything. They're like freaking chihuahuas at this point. Sour grapes. Yeah, exactly. Eddie de los Santos. Thanks for that comment. Thoughts, Orlando?
Okay. At Mount Rushmore, we had a lot more than the 1,500. Did we have a COVID spread?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
The riots, do we have not that many sometimes or somewhere near that? Is there a COVID spread? When they walk down to protest, whatever, don't they have hundreds and hundreds and possibly 1,000 and there is never a COVID spread? Or is it that the COVID only comes out when we are going to gather somewhere? Is that the only time COVID is going to attack? And did I not say this 3 hours ago that one of the first things they're going to say is that group of people is going to spread the COVID because all they got, folks.
They had the mainstream medium, Josh, maybe you watch on CNN or something, they had no problems with the COVID, I guess the COVID spreaders and the protesters on the other side without wearing their mask. And they want to shame these people, the 1,500 people that were invited by the president to the White House to watch this thing. I mean, have you heard anything about the protesters not wearing their masking and not social distancing, Josh?
I haven't heard anything about that, Roman, but it's kind of like Orlando and Cruz alluded to. The media is always going to be playing their what they want to, and saying what they want to fit their agenda that they're trying to perpetuate for the left. That's what it's about. It's always look at what you're doing, not what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. Nothing less. We're always going to have disease. We're always going to have sickness. It's just something that we need to figure out. I think we already have figured it out to a large degree. I'm just going to be honest. Me personally, if a doctor says take hydrochloroquine or go on a ventilator, I'm going to take hydrochloroquine. I think because that narrative doesn't fit what the left is trying to portray or follow. that's why they have an issue with it, because there's a bunch of doctors that have come out and said we can take care of COVID for like $50 with generic medicines that have been around for like 65 years. But because that doesn't fit their narrative, they don't want to report on it, or they're going to go against it because of the fact that they just want to get Trump out of office.
Well, none of us are doctors here, and we don't want Facebook to get us all banned again because we want to, mention what some doctors that we believe are experts are saying about the coronavirus. Whatever works. I've asked Manny to queue up the Megan McCain tweet. And the reason for that is, it's not the left that's going after Trump. It's these never Trumpers that were moderates to conservatives that were part of the McCain campaign failure of a race, and the Romney people, Mark Murray, I think was his name, Mark McCurry, who ran McCain's campaign, and was doing a super PAC for Jeb in 2016 that just felt. Josh, mute yourself again, please. All right. Megan writes today, tweets today, and I want Cruz to respond to this. It's not a communication style. It's a cruelty and indecency. Trump said he didn't like POWs who were captured, implied my father was burning in hell after he died, and constantly trashed him while he was fighting brain cancer. I probably did do all that, but this is what I want to get to is this last line. This is how they lost all decent people. Cruz, you are a Trump supporter. Do you believe that Megan McCain is calling you indecent for supporting Trump? Is this going to be the new deplorables?
I don't really think it's talking to me, probably because I just let it slide off. That's an establishment line. That's a Democrat line. So it really doesn't faze me.
Doesn't? I mean, I would assume that she's calling all decent people. So if you're decent, you shouldn't be supporting Trump. It doesn't bother you. Orlando, Josh, either one?
I think Roman, it's more, Cruz kind of hit the nail on the head that she's part of the establishment political families that have been around. Her father was in politics for roughly 40 years before he unfortunately passed away. I mean, there's people that are going to, on both sides of the aisle, that are going to try to work towards their establishment agenda. And that's what it's about for them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Even having said that, said what he said, I don't believe he actually hopes that McCain's burning in hell somewhere. It was one of those sarcastic comments that Trump can make that he probably shouldn't have said, but
yeah, and I don't condone what he said. I mean, it's just part of why his character and some of the things he says bothers me. But it equally bothers me that if you're going to throw that in Trump's face and say, oh my God, Trump's a horrible human being, you can't go around saying they've lost all decent people. And it's just the same idea of deplorable. And that's what bothers me. This hypocrisy on the never Trumpers left, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again because I don't want anybody to misconstrue me. Yeah, I didn't vote for President Trump in 2016. I was a never Trumper, but it ended when the election was over. Yes, I know. No, I mean, the reason I didn't support Trump is because this character stuff really bothers me, and it still bothers me. I'm not going to sit here and say he's the greatest president in the world. I'll never say that. That's probably why I'm not as well liked as some of you all. But I also don't believe that somebody like Megan should be saying that all decent people. I guess I'm no longer decent. I guess I was decent when I didn't vote for President Trump 4 years ago, and now I'm not decent. I didn't like it when Hillary said that, you're a bunch of deplorables for supporting, which is why there is an RGV deplorables group now. They take it with a great, they're taking it, which is fine. But is incorrigible. Orlando, you want to say something?
Was John McCain not involved in part of the original spreading of information in reference to the FISA Accord or to the spying at the very beginning? Was he not part of it? Has it not been said that he was also in it?
He was a willing tool, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
John McCain was just a very bad presidential candidate. He was running when he ran in 2000. He was this entire 8 years of the Bush presidency was quite annoying. He felt he should have beaten Bush. He still had a chip on his shoulder the whole time. And in 2008, just ran a horrible campaign. So people like Nicole Wallace, people like Steve Smith, who ran McCain's campaign, who helped pick, I guess, Sarah Palin and ruined her opportunity to be vice president. I guess it was a really, really bad campaign the entire time. And I think they have these sour grapes. I think Eddie used the word sour grapes, and I believe that as well. You know, they've just had sour grapes, the establishment. There was another queue up that I wanted him to post, and it was the what was it from the C-SPAN? I think it was a C-SPAN thing, Manny. Yep. And the reason I'm bringing some of these videos up is because I think it sets the tone for what they're saying about this. And this is a really 10-second cue. I think it's hilarious. Listen to it real quick.
Our first call comes from Scranton, Pennsylvania. Joe on our line for Democrats. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
That was it. That was it. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because C-SPAN, President Trump and his team are really picking up on C-SPAN after debate. You know, you all are watching us right now on Real Politics. There's a lot of people that are watching it on C-SPAN and calling in, and do you support Trump? Do you support Biden? And so they just call in on C-SPAN, and you're getting tons of Democrats who are calling in and saying, we support President Trump because of what's being said today and what's going on. And this was somebody who was using the words of Joe Biden. What do you all think of that? You know, what do you all think about these Democrats that are now supporting Trump on C-SPAN? C-SPAN Democrats or C-SPAN Trumpers? Anybody?
Well, Joe Biden has made tons of mistakes. I saw today or yesterday that 2-minute video of so many of his flaws or mistakes or whatever it is. And the fact that he said to this black person on TV, if you ain't voting for me, you ain't black. This is why they have him hidden in the cellar, and this is why Harris is out the one speaking, because they don't want any more of those snippets to be put together as a full-blown free-made commercial for the next 68 days. They have to hide him.
Cruz, your thoughts on, because I think this particular short clip speaks to what President Trump and his team was doing all week and reaching out to African American voters, telling them there is a home for you. I still remember the Kentucky Attorney General Daniel, who made that speech, and he pointed that finger. You know, we don't all think the same. Not all African Americans think the same, and here they are using this on C-SPAN, calling in, and it was a joke. But hey, it's typical C-SPAN callers. What do you think, Cruz?
I think that's why you have a growing movement of Blexit and walk away. I think that we had mentioned I think it was Orlando that had mentioned the president of walk away, the national walk away, that he should have been and said because it is gaining momentum.
Yeah, and the early on in tonight's RNC, you had a really well done video about former Democrats, people that thought that they were Democrats, and have now supported President Trump in the beginning. So it's this theme of walking away, trying to support. Josh, did you see that video by any chance? I don't know, Manny, you can find that video. It's like 2 or 3 minutes. If not, we don't have to play it. But you know, that video I think was effective. Josh, did you see that or no?
The guy from Walkaway's last name is Strut.
No, I haven't.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, this was earlier tonight. This was, early on by some things. Now, I want to get into President Trump's, before we go into more into President Trump's speech, other than President Trump, what were the better speeches tonight that made you feel like this was a good convention? Orlando seems like he's excited about it, so what's up?
Trump, his daughter. She spoke.
I'm sorry, no.
Ivanka Trump prepared her future speech to run for office.
No,
She
absolutely
was
not.
detailed and meticulous. She hit it out of the park.
Yeah, no.
Touched many different
I
things.
don't know what was
All
worse.
the way back to 1994, when Biden's crime bill was turned, the crime bill that Biden signed, and our father turned it over. And then how she said to him, Dad, I love you, I respect you for being effective.
Yeah, no, I think her speech and Tom Cotton's speech were the two worst speeches of the night. I thought her speech was beyond, it was just worthless. I'd rather have Tiffany up there. And you all know I love Tiffany.
Oh, you're nuts. You're crazy.
I heard her speech. And it was the tone was just like snobby. I still think that air thing is just annoying with the hair. There were a lot of applause lines that she thought were going to be applause lines. They were just not applause. People weren't ready to applause, and I didn't like her speech at all. I thought it was a poor use of an introduction, especially in prime time when they're only going to give you an hour, maybe an hour and a half, because he extended past 10 o'clock. I think it was a bad speech. Tom Cotton was just probably the worst night of the speech. Worst speech.
I was expecting more of Tom Cotton, and he did not deliver at all.
It was dry, right? It was dry, no emotion. Maybe it was the room. I think it might have actually been worse than Kamala's speech today. That's how bad Tom Cotton's speech was. That's just me. What was your best speech of the night other than Trump, Cruz?
And Dorn, very personal, very tragic story. And Patrick Lynch, president of the NYPD union, he called everybody out.
Yeah.
Let him.
Yeah, that was definitely good. I thought maybe it was a little long. It got a little repetitive here and there, but yeah, he was on point. That's for sure.
It was bash Bill de Blasio night.
When was the last time that the NYPD came out in full support? The Fraternal Order of Police from New York. When was the last time they came out in support of a Republican president?
According to him, in his memory, nobody. They've never done that. Josh, what was your favorite speech other than Trump?
I was gonna go with the police captain.
Mm-hmm.
To me, he covered why we need to back the police. Trump's the man to do that, and if we don't back the police, then we're not going to have a civilization, at least a civilized civilization, because they're the ones who keep us safe and enforce the law. They're not perfect all the time, but I don't want to imagine what this world would be like if we didn't have the men and women who stand on the thin blue line every day for us.
Yeah. I think Dorn's widow was, for me, the speech of the night, other than President Trump, because I don't think President Trump's speech was great, but that was the keynote. That's what everybody's for. But I think her 4-minute little video, 5-minute video, if you weren't practically in tears or crying, I'm gonna borrow Rick Perry's line, "You don't have a heart." I'm just kidding on that. No, but I think it was very effective. And if it should be effective. I know that the daughters of the police officer Dorn didn't want her to come on, but she came on anyway because I think it was very, very important. And then shortly thereafter, they had a speech by the parents of an ISIS hostage, and using that picture and showing that picture, you could tell that she wanted to cry, the mom, and I thought that was moving, very, very moving.
Yeah,
that was
the Muellers.
Yeah, the Mueller moment was huge. Eddie de los Santos saying the Mueller moment was huge because it allowed a peek behind the curtain of negotiations for hostages, and this family was misled and let down. Very sad story. It was very, very much so. Look, now let's talk about Trump's speech. What specifically did you like about it, Cruz?
I always liked that. To the point, guys. So I like that he always calls them out. He doesn't mince words and calls it like it is. Basically, my philosophy on politicians are never look at what they say or listen to what they say. Always look at what they do. But in Trump's case, it matches. His actions do match his rhetoric.
He called them liberal hypocrites. For a second there, I was like, "Oh, don't use that word hypocrites," but this is very Trumpian. this may not play in middle America, but then when he called them the hypocrites and why they were hypocrites, I think it played well. I think it was just a very odd pause after hypocrites. Like he was like chuckling almost underneath wanting to say that. Josh, what was your moment within the speech that I know you really liked it? What was the moment for you?
The fact that Trump left no holds barred. He did what he needed to do by going after Joe Biden, and he didn't mince words. I think it puts, if what we had talked about in the pre-show about possibly Biden being replaced on the ticket or whatever the issue is going on with him not coming out for the debates or whatnot, I think Trump is forcing the Democrats' hand to say, do we stick with Joe or do we do what everybody's thinking we might do? So Trump did what he needed to do tonight, in my opinion, in the speech. Yeah, you're right, Roman. It was kind of like a checklist thing, but it was, he was reminding people of, you know what, y'all have elected me. I've only been in a government office for 3 years, but look at all I've accomplished versus the almost 5 decades of Joe Biden.
Yeah.
So that's what I think it was about. But, like I said earlier, he also, in my mind, he gave America a place of where he wants to take us in the next 4 years.
Yeah, Manny, did I send you the Twitter link of the video of Joe Biden being interviewed by Anderson Cooper and practically looking over to the side, reading from notes while he's being interviewed? No. I didn't. Oh gosh, if you can find that on Twitter, it's like 1 minute where he's obvious. I don't want to look down and look for it and send it to you. But I just
real quick,
that's why it was 24 minutes long as opposed to President Donald Trump. Maybe that's what President Donald Trump wanted to do to show Cruz.
Don't forget the reference to Creepy Joe. Such a creepy Joe. Everybody got it. Everybody snickered.
Yeah. What else? What other lines did you like, Orlando, from his speech that you remember that you came away with?
The best is yet to come. He said that. He said stocks are going to go back up. And he said there will be more tax cuts. He also said expanding charter schools. Does that mean that we're going to start giving more opportunity for parents to send their children to charter schools instead of to these liberal indoctrinating public schools? Yes, that is a great idea. More charter schools, less opportunity to be obligated to go and be indoctrinated as they have been for the last 20 years. To me, those were important
all of the things that are needed.
Oops, sorry.
You found it?
Nope.
No. Okay.
I can't find that
right
one.
Now, there are protesters outside the White House. Some of them wearing masks, some of them not. There are definitely more than 50 people. I was under the impression that in DC you couldn't have more than 50 people grouping together, but maybe they have an exemption for protesters protesting the right cause. The right socialist Antifa cause. You can do that. You can do whatever you want to, as long as you.
It's a smart virus.
It's a very it you know what, that's what we've learned. It's very what's the word, cognizant, I think is the word, or it's almost alive. It'll know exactly what place to go to. It only goes after conservatives. It doesn't go after Antifa, Black Lives Matters protesters. Funny, Eddie has another comment. Funny moment when Trump said Joe took donations from blue collar workers, gave them hugs and even kisses, then flew back to Washington to ship jobs overseas. Yeah, that kisses remark. Thank you for bringing that one up. It took me off guard. Like, why are we talking even giving kisses? Kisses, like, dude, why are we talking about kisses in the middle of a speech?
Yeah, that's where he paused and everybody snickered.
Yeah, that was hilarious. That was hilarious.
You should have said sniff, sniff.
After tonight, we're now going to get into the meat and nitty gritty. Now you're going to really get the campaign going. I don't know how we're going to get crowds together. What do you expect after today? Now that we're heading into Labor Day weekend. I'm going to close it up.
I have one more thing that I noticed that was very different tonight from his usual speeches, and no, not speeches, but the usual applauses. Tonight, 6 times out of 6 particular times when the many people that applauded, 6 of those times he thanked the people for applauding, and he never thanks them. He just waits till they applaud and then continues to talk. But tonight, 6 times, he said thank you for whatever particular parts of his speeches that people applauded for. So I took notice to that. Why would he thank the people in this 6 particular times? I don't know, and I didn't write down notes about it, but I did notice that.
Yeah. Well, Mark Knoller, who is a great White House correspondent, it was with CBS before. I think they let him go earlier this year because of coronavirus. He's writing today that on Friday, both President Trump and Vice President Pence hit the campaign trail. The president has an airport campaign rally Friday evening in New Hampshire, and the VP has an America First events in must-win battleground states of Minnesota and Michigan. So yeah, they're going out there. They're going to do these campaign trails. Rona be damned, they're just going to do it, and they're going to be okay. Honestly, overall, we some of us saw the DNC. We didn't cover it on Real Politics, but we did see it. And we've definitely seen the 4 nights of the RNC. Who is better and why? Orlando, please.
I honestly, last week, I was not going to watch it. I was just going to take points from what Sergio and Zach and a couple of the people that I listened to, because I was not going to put or devote any time away from my business into watching the DNC. All I heard the following morning was there was a lot of hate and there was a lot of attacks. And then I also heard there were no American flags. So details, things that I love very dearly, which is this here, my adopted flag, the flag that I'll die for, was never used for the DNC. Most of the time they did a lot of hating and hate attacks. This week with you guys, we have commented, I have notes, and we have heard true life testimonies. We have heard true situations. We have heard everything that we heard for the last 3 days does not need to be fact checked. Everything has been real, it has been honest, it has been the truth. There's a big difference from last week's hate clown show to this week's honesty, thankful to all of those. Sorry for you for losing your family. Thank you for being there. It's been about thank you and sorry about your losses, but last week was just about hate.
Bruce?
I agree with that. As a matter of fact, Trump pretty much summarized that the event was Joe is such a nice guy, and not about what's going to happen with America, the people in the future. And of course, Orange Man bad.
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I listened to a lot of it, and it was very depressing. I was like, why would somebody want to watch this? And somebody mentioned when Obama gave his few minutes of words that he didn't even mention Joe Biden. Not one time, if I'm not mistaken. Michelle did, but he did not.
Well, Josh, please, what do you think overall, the 2 conventions?
I think the RNC represented more of who America is as a whole. I think having live speeches, it seemed personable, it seemed real. Whereas the DNC having everything taped, it just seemed like it was rehearsed monologue. It just seemed very production-y, if that makes sense. And it also looked, to me, it kind of looked sci-fi-ish in a way. But I feel like whoever choreographed or created or originated the RNC did an extremely good job with the locations they picked, how they set everything up. And to me, it just felt like one flowing, overarching themed message that everybody was very easy to follow. And like I said, to me, it took us down this path of who we are as Americans, what we believe, what we represent, and where Trump wants to take us in the next 4 years. So overall, I feel like our convention fit really well across the board.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's I guess I'll be the negative Nancy. I thought that the DNC was horrible. It was just really not a good production. Even all the glossiness of it, it was just not good. They had no issues other than don't vote for Trump, which you're going to do as a challenger. And we've said this before, but the problem is that you can't just do that. You have to talk about policy, and there was no policy even in 24 minutes of fluff that Joe Biden did. And I thought the first 2 nights, the first 3 nights of this this particular RNC were great. I thought it was great, even all the way up to President Trump's speech. Well, I take it back. Once we got to a 9 o'clock hour in our time, or 10 o'clock hour in the East Coast, up until that point, I thought the RNC was beyond better than the DNC. Listening to Trump's speech, listening to Ivanka, I've come across and thinking they wasted the last 3 nights. That's just me. I just did not see why it was why they couldn't have done better. I don't know why that speech just wasn't better for me. And remember, I'm not you all. You all have been Trumpers and supporter of President Trump for 4 years. You all are believers, and I want to be a believer like you all, but I have to still be fair, and I just don't feel like the speech did what it needed to do. I'm not saying he's going to lose now because of it. I just think he underwhelmed me, and definitely, Ivanka underwhelmed me, and it was done perfectly, masterfully up until that point, and that's going to be problematic because ultimately it's going to be about Trump. It's not going to be about all the speeches that we heard. It's not going to be about Herschel Walker. It's not going to be about the AG from Kentucky or the widow, Dorn's widow. It's going to be about whatever President Trump wrote and said. And I feel like it's problematic. I'm not going to agree with the Never Trumpers wholeheartedly, but I think we have a problem. He underwhelmed me. I sent Manny this particular tweet to post on here. This is what the protesters felt about the fireworks and President Obama's speech today. They throw the middle
President
finger.
Obama's?
President Trump's speech. Sorry.
We have to work on you.
I know we do. Apparently, yeah, you do. Sorry. I think these are the same people that think President Obama is still the president, and I guess it morphed into me somehow through osmosis through this computer screen. Well, I was hoping we were going to have Myra coming in, but I guess Myra wasn't able to, and we weren't able to get Adrian after all. They probably ran late over in Hidalgo with their drive-through thing that they did. I really appreciate it. I want to still be able to do something tomorrow. Maybe in the evening if we can, maybe something like we did today, and hopefully get some of those people that didn't get to chime in tomorrow and get this going. So I appreciate each and every one of you for coming. Any final thoughts, Cruz, before we go?
Just that there was a poster on Fox News earlier today showing the trending graphs that they do, and the independents, so-called independents, we're trending towards Trump on all previous nights. I don't know what's going to happen tonight, but if these quote-unquote precious independents are any trend, that's looking good.
Yeah, that's okay.
I think one thing that's happened is all this protesting and all this George Soros money and all these efforts he's putting in, I think it's backfiring, and I don't think they're going to recover from that. I think they just went too far, way too far, to a point where people are just disgusted by it. I mean, what happened in the Kenosha is horrible, and I think they went too far, and I think it's going to backfire on them in a huge way, and I don't think they can recover from this one. Joe Biden right there and Kamala, whatever, the speech she spoke today, which is phony as heck. I mean, I didn't believe a word she said. And didn't come off as sincere. So I don't know. I see all this playing in Trump's favor.
Josh, Orlando.
I have to agree. These people are now understanding that the chaos that they needed to somehow generate some kind of energy, because collusion, obstruction, and every other title that they came up with in the last 3 years, since it didn't work, since they were debunked, since now they're going to be investigated, and hopefully, God will it, some of them will be arrested. Now they had to come up with something new. So Soros figures, let's create chaos. So they're like, hey, let's ride the chaos train. Let them burn the city down. Let them vent. Well, all of a sudden, the rioters are out of control. Everybody's wearing Gucci. Everybody's wearing a Rolex. Everybody's loaded with jewelry and everything else. And they want more of it. And now the Democrats are like, wait a minute. We gave these people fuel. These people are out of control. And this is not going to help us because there are Democrat business owners in these little cities that are coming out to the streets crying, why me? What did I do? And if the city Democrat officials are not going to defend the small business owners in these towns, guess what the business owner is going to do? I'm not voting for you people anymore. I'm going to the other side. I'm fed up with it. So it's backfiring, but they can no longer control it.
Yeah, there's one telling photo my friend sent me from Kenosha where everything's burning in the background, and there's a big church sign. And on the church sign, it says Black Lives Matter. And everything is up in flames, including that sign. And that's what's happening. That's exactly what's happening.
They were not protected. The sign did not protect them from the play that is the Antifa professional rioters. Josh, please.
I definitely think there's going to be an October surprise. I think that's going to come on the Democratic side. Possibly a replacement on the ballot. I don't know. We'll see. For the Republicans, it's all systems go right now, and I think Trump's going to cruise to re-election, and I think he's going to do it bigger than he did in 2016. I think like Orlando was saying, the protests / now riots have backfired on the Democrats, and I think that where the moderates and the independents are going to swing towards the Republican side. And I think the Republicans have a good shot at taking the House. We'll keep the Senate, and Trump will get reelected.
Well, we're going to continue talking about the riots and things like that because the riots are. You look back at 1968 and 1972; those were the Nixon elections, and the 1972 election was an absolute landslide. I think the biggest landslide in the history of the United States for a president. You're not going to think, I saw somebody say something about you're not going to want to have a beer with President Nixon, but you wanted him in charge. You might want to even have a beer with President Trump, but do you want him in charge? And that's going to be ultimately the question. With these rioters, Biden is trying so desperately all day, and I just don't think it's going to work. This is Trump America. Trump can't do anything about it. The argument is simple. It's happening in Democrat cities. It's Democrat blue states. Yep. They tried to do it in Austin, even in a Democrat city, the People's Republic of Austin. It didn't succeed because you had a Republican governor that said, no, this isn't going to happen here. And that's the issue. All right, Josh. Well, on that note, we'll let you all go. God bless each and every one of you. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and please make sure you like our Real Politics page. Manny is manning a lot of the links you're getting on Real Politics. We'll be writing soon this weekend, I think, because we're going to start doing some write-ups on our own. So you're going to get actual blog or articles written by some of us crew on Real Politics. And we're doing this for you all because we think that there needs to be a conservative or center-right website out there for you all here in the Rio Grande Valley. And that's what Real Politics is here. We're not here to make the news. We're just going to be here to help you see it. So for all four of us, and even Myra, who came with us, and Jessica Puente Bradshaw was here with us, and Daniel, who was here to help cover the Republican National Convention. It was great, and God bless each and every one of you. Good night. All right. Take care.
Bye, guys.
All right.